Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Two Canadian whiskeys. This was introduced in 1962. Barrister's Canadian Gold. You can tell it's a bottle they're trying to kind of swap the Canadian Club label with all the busy cursive writing. But anyway, that's the story on that. Aged 3 years, bottled in New Jersey by Wellington Distillers Products Company. In other words, Laird and Company. That's just an alias name. This was $9.99 at Total Wine and More, and you can get it cheaper by the handle. Same thing with this one. Canadian, well, with any liquor, basically. Canadian Hunter. Give you a little story about this. Hold on. I'm going to put a little water on this spot. Now, the first thing we'll notice about this Canadian Hunter is that it has the same bottle shape as McAfee's Benchmark Old Number 8 straight bourbon whiskey, as Ancient Age straight bourbon whiskey. All right. So it's that same Sazerakian Buffalo Trace kind of knockoff old Jack Daniel's style bottle. So they're using the same bottle design for multiple products, American, US and Canadian. Clear bottle. Let's see. It's got the hunter with the dog splashing, going through the snow. It's a updated cartoon or illustration from the 1984 Seagram's Canadian Hunter label, and this one has a bullet because he's hunting. He got bullets. Canadian Hunter, 750 milliliter Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. The old label did not say that. Let's see. Seagram's Canadian Hunter was introduced in 1984, and it lasted until 89 when Seagram sold Canadian Hunter, Crown Rose Vodka, Benchmark, I forgot about that, and Eagle Rare, and a whole lot more to, and Dr. McGillicuddy's Fireball was part of that sale, which was a very low volume product at the time, to Sazerac Company. Sazerac took Fireball and brought it from obscurity to being one of the top 5 selling whiskey products in the United States. You say that's crazy. Yeah, Fireball is big, and Sazerac did it. Canadian Hunter isn't exactly big, but it's around. You can find it. Mathern sells it. Winn-Dixie sells it. Walmart sells it. Everybody sells it around here. $8.99 at international market. $8.99. True story. Now the price might have gone up with the recent inflation, thanks to the U.S. government, Federal Reserve System. There it is, Canadian Hunter. These are both aged 3 years, and they're both bottled in the United States. Like I said, this is bottled in New Jersey, and this one's bottled in Frankfort, Kentucky, says it. Bottled by Sazerac Company, Frankfort, Kentucky. So Sazerac, when it's a brand they don't want you to associate with Buffalo Trace Distillery, they'll say Sazerac. Tijuana Cheap Tequila, bottled by Sazerac at Frankfort, Kentucky. Canadian Hunter, bottled by Sazerac in Frankfort, Kentucky, and so on. Now, if it's something they want to showcase, like even a cheap bourbon, such as Ancient Age and McAfee's Benchmark, Old Number 8, oh, they'll say, Buffalo Trace, Buffalo Trace, Buffalo Trace. So it's the same facility, but it's what they want you to see and what they don't want you to see. If you go on the Buffalo Trace tour, which I did 4 years ago, it was free, they're going to show you Ancient Age. Naturally, they're going to promote Buffalo Trace more than anything. Blanton's, they're going to really promote that, Eagle Rare, and so on. You'll never see the Canadian whiskeys being bottled there. You're never going to see the cheap tequila being bottled there. And the only vodka you're going to see is Wheatley. That's one they acknowledge at Buffalo Trace. Wheatley, developed by this man named Mr. Wheatley that works there. And oh, it's fabulous and everything. Crown Rust vodka, forget it. You're not going to see that there, although it's there. The Dixie Basement says, good morning, Ron. I'm going to put my money on Canadian Gold this round. So I know who to blame for the Fireball craze. Unfortunately, I can't blame them. It's whiskey flavor with cinnamon. Canadian whiskey could be this flavor with cinnamon. When Seagram's had it, they did really nothing, but it was Dr. McGillicuddy's Fireball. There's still Dr. McGillicuddy's products that Sazerac makes, like mint flavored and I don't know what other ever kind of crazy flavor they have with that line. But they detached Fireball from it and rebranded it with the Dragon. I don't guess they changed the recipe at all, but they really started promoting Fireball, and it caught on. It was untapped millions of drinkers every day that wanted to drink a whiskey-based cinnamon-flavored liqueur product. Oh, well, so they made buku money with it. I don't like it. I mean, I tried it, but I knew I wasn't going to like it before I tried it. I was like, bleh, cinnamon-flavored whiskey product. Bleh. But then again, I don't really like any liqueurs. I do Fandango Friday and we taste liqueurs, but I'm tasting a little 50 milliliter bottle. And, you know, it's interesting to try them, but I cannot honestly say that I like them. I would never actually drink them aside from doing a review and a tasting. I'm stuck with the big dill pickle, garlic flavored vodka. I'm stuck with the George Dickel Tabasco sauce stuff. I'll drink it down. It's going to take a year or whatever, but I'd rather just drink a whiskey that's just whiskey. And beer, it's the same thing with beer. All these flavored beers, I'll drink them. I'll give them a good score if they're well made, but I don't really like them. So people were saying, oh, no, Four Loko Red. Oh, no, you know. But I mean, Four Loko Red, and some of those same people go run out and drink Fireball. It's like, well, hell, you drinking Fireball? That's 35% alcohol. Of course, you're not going to drink as much as like a Four Loko. But I mean, Four Loko is, you know, cheap, but it's the same concept. It's the same concept. A product made to taste like something else. Fireball, whiskey, Red Hots. That's what it's made to taste like Red Hot. Four Loko Red, they're making it taste like a red berry candy. Like, well, maybe like that red licorice, Twizzlers or something. Now, why you would want to drink that, I don't know. It's not bad. It doesn't taste bad. I drank the whole can of Four Loko, and I drank it over a 3.5 hour period. Didn't make me sick because I stretched it out. I would never want to drink it again. But I tried it. It wasn't bad. It was actually excellent in its framework. A framework that I hate, but still. Wine, same thing. Look how popular all these flavored wine products are. You say, oh, you mean like MD 2020, you know, that is part of it. But there are more higher grade. They got the Carlo Rossi flavored wine products. I see them at Mathern's. People buy them. The Stella Rosa. I see people buying that like they're crazy, you know. Oh, Stella Rosa. Oh, they can't get enough of it. It's not really. They think. I think a lot of the people buying it say, "Oh, this is good wine." Well, it's not exactly a wine. It is a wine-based product. Well, it's made to taste like Hawaiian punch. It's like Hawaiian punch for adults, and it's probably no better or worse than that. So if you give that a high regard, then I guess you give the Stella Rosa a high regard. But the distributors ain't laughing about it. I mean, they're laughing about it, but they're not laughing about it because they're making bank on it. They selling that stuff like it is craziness. And with the scamdemic that went on and still going on, home sales for liquor went to the roof. People were drinking more at home than ever before. They stayed home to be healthy. You know, they didn't want to get ill, so they stayed home and drink. And as you know, that's a good way to stay healthy, right? You say, wait a minute, that's counterintuitive. That doesn't make sense. A lot of this whole demic doesn't make sense, but just do what you're told. I think don't you agree? You should just do what you're told and comply. Isn't that what we learned from the 4th of July and all of that? You do what you're told. You don't ask questions, and you do what the heck you're told to do. If they say it, you do it. Just do it. Just comply. Can't you do that? Isn't that what Independence Day teaches us? You just do what you're told and don't ask questions. Don't be a deviant. You know, you don't need to have this freedom thing going on in your head. That's old hat. You start talking about freedom, they're going to start calling you Jim Eagle. Poured too much. Well, that's not too bad. Still, both together, it's not that much. All right, but good thing these glasses are small. Now, but I'm trying to be careful about it because I want to save it for more taste challenge. This is gold. It's gold. It's gold. More like amber, though. This one's more gold. So the Buffalo Trace Canadian Hunter, the modern Canadian Hunter with natural flavoring. And I know that Canadian Gold got natural flavoring. Ain't no whiskey going to taste like that on its own. You know, it's more gold. So that's more amber. That's more gold. I'll try to not look at them because that could throw me off. They both strength, but I got to say, the Canadian Hunter with its weird John and Neil A coined the phrase almond extract thing going on. I think they're using some kind of white rum or something. It's a little different, but it's very similar to Caliber or Albertson's Canadian. No, never mind that. That's out of production anyway. That tastes more like traditional whiskey. Caliber, Rich and Rare, Canadian Limited, and those things. But maybe Mr. Boston tastes like that. Yeah, there's a Mr. Boston Canadian whiskey. I've seen it. I've seen it. It was acquired by Sazerac. There's a whole line of Mr. Boston. And it's no longer made in Boston because that distillery and all of that was shut down. I don't even know if the building's still standing. Now, Mr. Boston's mainly famous for this bartender's cocktail guide to cocktails or mixed drinks or whatever it's called. It's been on the market. They've been making that book since the 1930s, and most bars have it. But they have a whole line of Mr. Boston straight bourbon whiskey, Mr. Boston blended whiskey, Mr. Boston gin, Mr. Boston vodka, Mr. Boston rum, Mr. Boston tequila, Mr. Boston Canadian whiskey, Mr. Boston scotch, Mr. Boston, and etc. Are they any good? Well, I mean, they're probably the same as all these other Sazerac plethora of brands. Just inexpensive, budget level things. Kind of like what I'm dealing with now. Exactly what I'm dealing with now. There's some people that like Canadian Hunter, though. It has a following. I'm not here to attack it. Why would I attack it? I think it's all right. But my prediction is that I will be able to tell them apart because the Canadian Gold is even more unusual in the flavor. It has flavors I just don't know what I'm tasting. I say marshmallow, vanilla, cashew oil, walnut oil. I don't know what it is, but it's a weird one. Mr. Grinch. All right. Oh, this smells kind of like that. They both smell like candy. Remember, natural flavors. It's not artificial. I had this argument so many times where people telling me, well, it's artificial because it's not a natural flavor of whiskey. I said, that doesn't make it artificial. And it was like you couldn't break through to them. They would not, either they could not understand, which is a strong possibility, or they refuse to understand. And they were telling me stuff like, I said, well, natural lemon flavor. What does that mean to you? When I say natural lemon flavor, I say that means it's coming from lemons of some method. If it's artificial lemon flavor, it's some other chemical compound. It could be a food compound from nature, but it's not lemon, so it's artificial. It tastes like lemon. And these people are, I hope they were being willfully ignorant. Because how could you be that dumb, you know? But I got arguments with people on Facebook or whatever that are educated. I think. I know they got a college degree arguing with me about marijuana and alcohol. And I said to myself, I said, well, at least he's got a bachelor's degree in social studies. He's talking about science, so he's not an expert in science, obviously. But anyway, I don't have any science degrees. But I used to listen to Mr. Science on public radio. Remember Mr. Science? Aroma. Much similarity. Meaning a lot of sweet corn, distillate. So corn alcohol, corn liquor, corn grain whiskey, corn spirits, whatever you want to call it. And some kind of candy sweetness or whatever that's coming from. That's your Canadian whiskey. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. That's what they smell like. Do they smell like bourbon? No. Except in the corn part of it. But you get no charred oak, you know, no vanilla, no charred oak, no. Well, you got to taste bourbon. You know what bourbon tastes like, I would assume. And if you don't, you can go buy some and try it. Okay, taste time. So far, you know what? I'm not quite sure, actually. So on appearance, yeah, well, one's darker, so you could tell if you look, that'd be cheating. On aroma, hard to say. Price point, Buffalo Trace wins by $1. Around here, may be different, may be totally flipped where you live. So let's just say they're the same price because it's basically the same. Yeah, their regulations make sense. Open strip clubs and don't even allow confessions, much less the Eucharist. All the while they hold parties with escorts on boats or at the French Laundry. Yeah, they don't practice what they preach. But they represent the sinister side of the equation. You know what I mean? These people that rule the country, they really represent the left-hand course. They represent the sinister side. They like to talk about religion in a general sense, but they don't practice any kind of, you know, what we're thinking about. BC's Beer Review says, cheers, Ron. Cheers to you. So, but that's the state of affairs, you know, but I mean, we know, right? Thanks for joining last night, BC. That was a good hangout. I really loved it. It was busy, which is good. But yeah, I'm not really panicked over that because like the Blue Oyster Cult song says, "Old God's Return" from 20 years ago. That's the lyric. It was a prophecy, you know. So it was a prophecy. All right. This is the time when the old gods return. Just when we were so sure of ourselves, and that makes me think of the left-hand leadership. They're so sure of themselves, you know. Pride, the proud tower, you could call it. Pride comes before a fall. All right. Okay, one sip. That's the Canadian Gold, boy. Oh man, what is that flavor? Is it licorice? No, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like those marshmallows in Lucky Charms cereal. Or is it cotton candy? Boy, I tell you, that's the strangest thing. If you're a bourbon fan and you say, oh man, I bought some Old Fitzgerald, and my friend had some Pappy Van Winkle, 18-year age, and we were drinking it, and you tried this, you would just be appalled. I mean, absolutely appalled. Rightfully so. I can't argue that. You would say, what in the deuce is this? You know, like, what is this? This is not kosher, man. I don't think they are certified kosher. If you want to get techno, no. No way, baby. But Evan Williams is. It was awesome last night on the show. It really was. It was a really good hangout. Everybody had interesting products, half of which I never heard of. But, you know, that's fine. I sat there and listened to people talk, and it sounded like everything people had was good. I mean, I didn't get any bad scores coming in, so I just listened and plugged the scores in. We could only let 6 people at a time join. That was no problem. Just rotated them in and out. I just carefully rotated them in and out. And I mean, you don't need 10 people in a panel at the same time, because 10 people don't need to talk at the same time. 6 people don't need to talk at the same time. In fact, 2 people don't need to talk at the same time. A good hangout, you take turns, let each person talk. You go around the horn, as they say on exploitation, socialist programming network, and then you present your program. All right, so this is the Canadian Gold. Haha, so obvious, so very obvious. Now let's taste the Canadian Hunter just to do it. It's sweet like candy. It's sugary sweet. I mean, if I was Bow Wow, I almost said Bow Die. That was the emperor of the state of Vietnam. If I was Bow Wow, I would say I want candy wrapped in a sweater. But you know what I'm saying? It tastes like candy. Came from out on the island. In the back room, she was. All right, so but it's more like whiskey tasting. You know what I'm saying? But to me, whiskey tastes like candy. I mean, even expensive whiskey tastes like candy, because it's made with that sweet corn, and then you get the sweetness and the sugar, and there you go, honey, honey, and the sugar, baby, and that. So, but if you want a cheap whiskey that has a taste that at least is in the whiskey world, the whiskey universe. This could work. Is it better than Crown Royal? Well, you know, let's not go too, don't go too far, Tony. Don't go too far, Tony. I'm not, Mel. You are. You know, we don't want to go too far saying it's as good as Crown Royal. Crown Royal is not that great. But anyway, it's not bad like some people say, you know, they go overboard in that respect. You know, those big brands, easy targets, Crown Royal, Jack Daniels, Budweiser, people love to attack them and go overboard and describe what they aren't. You know, they give descriptions that are obviously ridiculous. But this is which one? Okay. So, but to bring this argument back into perspective, if I wanted to buy Canadian whiskey to drink, and I wouldn't do that because I don't drink whiskey at all anyway of any sort. I just do taste challenges and taste tests and reviews. But if I was looking to buy Canadian whiskey to drink, and I had a choice between $8.99, it's not an even switch. You're going to get a lower grade. But on the other hand, you're going to save over $10 per bottle, and you're not really losing that much. So it's a balancing act, and it is a good trade-off. It is a good trade-off. I've had kosher wine. It's definitely an acquired taste. You got that right. I heard Mel Brooks say they should just let Italians cater the Passover meal. Haven't been invited to several over the years. I agree. I've never had one of those. All right. I'd do it, I guess. Now, would Canadian Gold be a good trade-off versus Crown Royal? That's a dicier proposition because you're going to save money, no doubt, but you're going to get a really strange product. Now you say, well, I like strange products. I like exotic flavors. I like things that are not appropriate to the style and whatnot. Oh, well, then you should buy it because it's definitely not bland. And Crown Royal, I mean, you know, it's kind of bland, really. Crown Royal is like a neutral flavor by design because most people mix it with Coca-Cola anyway. You hear them all the time saying, I'm getting off of work, going to drink some Crown and Coke. And they like everybody to hear that. They want everybody to know that. So, well, that's fine. But, so maybe it would be a good trade-off. Just go read the reviews on Total Wine and More. People say, oh, I bought Canadian Gold. We really like it. And we've been drinking it. But then you get some that say, oh, it's terrible. It's the worst. So you only get those two. You get 5 reviews talking about how they like it. And some people talking about it had a licorice, black licorice flavor or something like that. And then you get that. Then there's one that'll say, it's a 0. It's terrible. You know, why did I buy this trash? And then you'll get 5 more saying, oh, yeah, it's all right. I'm glad I went to Total Wine and tried it. I thought I was getting Canadian Club. They weren't paying attention to the bottle. I was wondering why it was so cheap. It's Canadian Gold. I never heard of that, blah, blah, etc. And then they said, well, I kind of liked it. Me and my wife drank it. And then you get that one more. Say, oh, this is filthy. This is nasty. This is badness. Now, I haven't read the Canadian Hunter S. Thompson reviews on Total Wine and More, but they're probably similar. So who wins today? Well, I do believe Canadian Gold loses to Hunter S. Thompson. Canadian Hunter S. Thompson. Because Canadian Gold is more gonzo than that. And this is like Fear and Loathing in the whiskey world. You know what I mean? You say it's the whiskey diary. It's the whiskey diary. It's not the rum diary. That's right. But we going back to the rum diary soon enough. Soon enough. Once we finish Canadian whiskey, we have a lot of exciting things coming your way. Irish whiskey. Can't wait to try the Tullamore DEW. Got blended Scotch with Dewar's 12-year age. You'll be shocked to the bone when I tell you what I paid for it. You'll be shocked to no end. And it's a true story, and I'm not lying about it. Then we've got single malt Canadian whiskey. You say, what is it going to be? Glenlivet 12-year? Something ordinary like that? Actually, it is Glenlivet 12-year age, believe it or not. It is Glenlivet 12. Yeah, ordinary, but we were reviewing it, single malt. And then once that's over, we're going to go to Brandy. Such a fine girl. What a good wife it would be. So we're going to do Brandy. And I got a Brandy. And it's featured at all these fancy New Orleans restaurants for whatever strange reason. For happy hour. That's probably the reason. And then it's going to be rum. And I can't wait to try the Cruzan Black Strap. Been waiting for 2 years. I only paid $8.99, which is the Estate Diamond Collection. I don't like, who priced this? I don't think Cruzan. Now, regular Cruzan, yeah, it's $9.99 for the gold and the silver. Cruzan's cheap. We get that. We know that. Everybody knows that. I know that. You know that. The American people know that. But the next grade up is the Diamond Estate. I'm sorry, Estate Diamond. What's it doing for $8.99? But other people say, yeah, I wouldn't have asked questions. I'd have grabbed the bottle and bought it, because that's exactly what I did. So then that's going to go through. And then we're going to do, what we have? Oh, tequila. And I got the Montezuma. What's that, the gold? It'll probably be fine. Nothing great. Then we go through that. And then we have, then we swing back around. Oh, we do mezcal. I got a mezcal to try. I'm so excited. Sombra. And that was a very weird price. That's another story. And then we'll swing back around to rye whiskey. And I got an exciting rye whiskey to try. I cannot wait. I mean, I got to wait. But Michael Jennings up there in Canada, the Dominion of Canada, he says he wants to do a duo review of Crown Royal Canadian rye. It's called Northern Harvest Rye. I'm about to say High Country. Northern Harvest Rye. He's got a bottle, and I think Johnny Neely wants to join in on that too. You know, if we can schedule it. Those things are difficult. So anyway, that's it. That's the moral of the story. Long Island Cereal says, good morning, Ron. Good morning to you. So anyway, sorry, Canadian Gold, but you're too strange when you're a stranger. And the winner is the Canadian Hunter. The Canadian Hunter for the win. The Glen 12-year isn't bad. I'll never understand the snobbery against it. That's the snobbery, see, because it's a mainline product. It's a well-known, affordable product. So the snobs, they have a lot of low self-esteem issues. You know what I'm saying? So the way they help their self-esteem is to go out there and attack an easy target like Glenlivet 12, and they can say, "Oh yeah, that's so bland." And I was talking to Gary Steinmetz, you know, the distillery master at Gobblegook whiskey company, and we were talking, and you know, they like to lay those names down, and so they're trying to establish like street credibility in the whiskey drinking world, you know, and they just go on and all that, and it's like this helps validate their inferiority complex, I guess you could say. So when you're dealing with that kind of like psychological deficit challenge, then you're going to do that, and they do it. You see it in the beer world with Budweiser. You see it in the wine world with all these, you know, big popular wine brands, and they're just going to run and attack it. They can't help themselves because they need validation. Please respect my authority.